This isn't you.
Probably depends on how much Nicorette he's chewed.
Yeah, I know.
From Fox News, the immensely entertaining Tucker Carlson is on the line.
The immensely entertaining Tucker Carlson. What's up, buddy?
Bubba!
What are you doing right now? Where are you at?
I'm cruising down Massachusetts Avenue right now, past all the embassies. I'm coming from Fox. I was just on. I've chewed a lot of Nicorette. I'm ready. I'm awake.
Why didn't you tell us you were on? Why didn't you tweet us or text us or something like that? You twit?
Tweet you. I wanted to tweet you, but my Twitter account was down this morning, unfortunately.
And what were you talking about today on Fox?
I was talking about a documentary I've got airing Friday night.
Oh,
Fox News Channel at 9 p.m. prime time on textbooks.
Really?
And how screwed up they are.
You mean how much of a special interest it is, or how much of a shakedown it is, and the deals that various municipalities cut with the textbooks industry?
Well, I think there's likely some of that. I mean, those things are over $100 a piece on average. These are huge financial deals, but mostly I'm annoyed by the distortions of history in these books.
You mean how they tell you Columbus is a hero?
Muslim groups and
like, for instance,
political correctness.
Like, for instance, it's coming up this coming Friday here on Fox at 9. Give me like the most glaring, not to throw all of your data that you're going to give away on Friday, but like what's the most glaring misnomer that you've been able to find?
Oh, well, there are a million of them, but the one that infuriates me most is the unwillingness of textbooks to describe the 9/11 hijackers as Muslims.
They won't do that.
No. They won't call them Muslims. They won't point out the truth, which is these guys were motivated by religious hatred. That's just a fact.
Now, why won't they?
They said it. We know that. And textbooks have been bullied by these Muslim groups into pretending that's not the case, and it's a lie. It's a distortion.
Now, how are they, like in today's textbooks, because obviously none of us are probably privy to that. What are they saying about 9/11? Like on your research and stuff, what are they saying about 9/11?
Well, just that it happened. That these people did it. These people with funny names did it. But they don't ever even suggest why they did it. Or that it was an act of, religious hatred that motivated them to do that. That's considered, just way too
honest.
Way too, yeah.
And see, that's the problem. And Tucker, this is a great topic because there's a great book called Lies My Teacher Told Me by James Lowen. And just about everything you're taught in history is a distortion and is not real.
Like what, for instance?
Well, by the way, we interviewed him for this documentary.
Oh, excellent.
And a lot of other people. Yeah, I mean, just you name it. Basically, here's the theme. The theme is that every evil deed in human history was committed by the United States. Okay? The U.S. is bad in every way. And the sum of American history is the internment of the Japanese. But no other country's ever done anything wrong. It's just look, I think America's done a lot wrong. I've made a good living describing what I think is wrong with America. So I'm not, America, love it or leave it. But let's get some perspective on the world here. You know what I mean? And there is none in these textbooks at all. And by the way, the feminist influence in these books is almost amusing. It's so over the top. Like manhole cover. Well, that's not allowed. It's a personhole cover. I mean, the word man has been completely stripped out of any textbook. It's like offensive.
Like, like in James, I can't wait to watch this, by the way. James Lowen, in his book, he gives you, like, the passages of textbooks and high school textbooks, like 3 or 4 of them, and then he gives you what really happened in history. It is amazing that we teach our kids these just flat-out lies.
Well, maybe that's the reason I'm so stupid.
In my view, and I'm biased because I was a history major, and I think history is really important.
For sure.
I sincerely believe that. It's not just, like, fun facts to know. It's actually the basis upon which you make your decisions about your life, so it matters. But the ignorance of history is in the United States. You wouldn't even believe it. Like most people know, American students don't know squat about history, but fully a quarter of American students, high school students, identified the Vietnam War as a war between North and South Korea.
Oh God, my Lord!
Yeah, so it's literally that bad. It's horrible.
Now, let me ask you a question. What's the ups? Why are they, like, for instance, something as simple, I shouldn't say as simple, but something as important as 9/11, what would be the advantage, Tucker, of of teaching it that way. Whereas, I mean, don't you think all kids really know the truth? Or do parents not sit their kids down and tell them the truth? Are there really some kids out there that don't know what happened here?
I think that there are a lot of people who don't know what happened. Americans just don't, it's one of the best things about our country is it's a forward-looking culture. We're always thinking about tomorrow, and tomorrow's always going to be better. And that's who we are. That's what it is to be an American. You don't wallow in the past, right? So the downside of that is we don't know squat about what happened 20 minutes ago. And I think, yes, there are people who don't know what 9/11 was about. I think the real problem is twofold. One, it's kind of straightforward left-wing bias. Most academics are left-wing. They don't give the country the benefit of the doubt. They hate Western civilization. That's part of it. Two, the textbook publishers, some of them are ideologues. Most of them are just businessmen. And they don't want the hassle of interest groups complaining. So some Muslim group gets up and says, it's a slur against our people to have, the 9/11 hijackers identified as Muslims. And the textbook publishers say, you know what, it's not worth it. I can't deal with this. I don't want people picketing our office. We give up. We're just going to take that out. And that's really what happens most of the time.
Well, and they're obviously in a for-profit business, so, they as soon as they get any type of controversy or something like that, and, they have this many municipalities not carry their books, then they have their stock, they have their, their stockholders and their board to answer to, saying, hey, man, there was 27 municipalities that refused to carry our books based on your description of 9/11. Why couldn't you just left that out?
Well, but you've hit it right on the head. That's exactly right. If they lose, California and Texas are the biggest textbook buying states, obviously, and they buy them in Texas. They buy them statewide. So if Texas doesn't buy your book, you're not going to make any money on it. So you have to satisfy the Board of Education in Texas, which is a very small group of people, and so like 11 people have control over all of our textbooks.
But hold on. But what you haven't seen is a step further, and what happened down here in our parts was, listen to this. We had this guy that, for years was this, recognized as he was the superintendent or the head of Pinellas County Schools. Hundreds of millions of dollars of budgets and things like that. And just out of nowhere last year, he resigned, and come to find out he took a huge paying job with, what was Brent, was the largest textbook.
I want to say Scholastic.
Scholastic.
I want to say it is.
He resigned his position as the superintendent of schools and became like a vice president of Scholastic. And they went back and looked at all the deals that he'd given Scholastic and the no-bid contracts he did, and it was amazing.
That is not surprising, but it's disgusting.
And now on the flip side, Tucker, the woman running the Board of Education in Texas is a lunatic religious nut. And she wants to teach, all kinds of crazy stuff in public schools that shouldn't be taught.
Yeah, there are interest groups on all sides. The left definitely dominates, and they have the most influence over textbooks, but there are definitely, right-wing, religious groups that have their own agenda, too. This is, there are a lot of people pushing textbook publishers to take certain things out in certain other things, and unfortunately, it's a captive audience. There's nothing kids can do about it or parents can do about it. If you send your kids to public school, you don't have a choice. You have to have these textbooks.
I want to tell you something that was really, really disturbing, Brent. Last night, Heather's on the phone with my stepfather, Jeff. He's real smart, a lot smarter than me, and she's beside herself. She's screaming, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? You guys are bugging me. And she's like, look at this, and she hands these equations to me, these math problems. Now, my stepdaughter, she's in third grade, okay, Tuck? She's 8 years old. Yeah. She's in third grade. And, Brent, I swear to you, now, don't everybody just pile on at once, okay? Now, I know that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Brent, I couldn't understand them. They were math problems. They were like algebra stuff. Algebra's stupid, first of all. And secondly, Brent, I couldn't even, and there's no book. They just send her a worksheet. And how can it be that tough? Am I that stupid? Or
no, here's the problem is they start inserting letters into the equations. And if I were president, if I were head of the school board, I would say no more letters in math, okay? You shouldn't have like an X in there. X is not a number.
No.
Okay? That's not math.
It's a variable.
Well, I don't even know what that is, but I don't think it should be allowed.
Well, see, Tucker,
we'll make sure all of our kids can never get into our state universities.
You and I are the same, Tucker. I feel the same way with you. I've never yet. I'm 43 years old, Tucker. You're about the same. And, I would say I'm somewhat successful, as you are, too. You're on TV and stuff. And, Brent, I have never yet to have like 9y plus 7x equals z. I've not had that in my life yet, bitch.
But you have used algebra.
Wow.
Because let's say with the merchandise ordering, the variable is how big's your order going to be? What the